I call the Township of Aleppo Commissioners meeting of April 21, 2025 to order at 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
President Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Darrow.
Present.
Commissioner Richard.
Present.
Solicitor Jewett.
Present.
Manager Patterson.
This meeting, as all others, will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Do I hear a motion to approve the April 14th workshop meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Solicitor, conditional use hearing.
Yes, we're now going to open the public hearing on a conditional use application submitted by Carl Walker Construction for property owned by 79 North Portfolios Owner LLC located at 209 Overlook Drive, Swickley, PA 15143, located in the C2 zoning district. Assessment records show the property is approximately 2.2 acres. The application is to obtain approval for the use of the property as a construction-related business, which is permitted as a conditional use in the C2 district, with potential for exterior storage of building materials and equipment. The property is block and lot number 344-D-15. Applicable zoning ordinance provisions are sections 400-8, Table 6, Section 400-47, Table 15, and Section 400-27. As a preliminary matter, I'm going to enter the following township exhibits into the record by reference. Township Exhibit A will be the application dated March 18, 2025. Exhibit B will be notice to the applicant of the public hearing held today, dated for April 21st. Township Exhibit C will be the notice to adjacent property owners. Township Exhibit D will be the Township Engineer's review letter. Township Exhibit E will be the Planning Commission recommendation on this application. Township Exhibit F will be public hearing proofs of publication. Township Exhibit G will be proof of posting of the property. Is there anybody here other than the applicant who seeks party status to the hearing? No. Okay. Will anybody who intends to testify please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn in by the stenographer? Thank you.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If, sir, can you please state and spell your name for the record and give any presentation you wish to give the commissioners?
My name's Joseph White, W-H-I-T-E. I'm the president and majority owner of Carl Walker Construction. And I'm here to answer any questions that you folks may have in regards to this application.
So seeing that there are no members of the public here, we'll turn it over to the board for any questions of the applicant. You do all have copies of the application and the materials. It has been reviewed by the Planning Commission as well as by our office and by the engineer.
I could make some comments towards the letter that for your review. Carl Walker Construction is a parking garage repair and new build company. We were founded 28 years ago. We've been down at a similar building to that at 209 at the Vista Park location down in Robinson for the entire 28 years. What we did different was, what it is a metal shell building. We built offices in the front, and we just expanded to the right and left is what we did. And the total area we have over there now is 6,000 feet. This building's 10. In regards to like storage materials and things like that, what we do is we are not a vendor per se that we bring in materials and we sell them from that location. We attain projects like the Pittsburgh Airport or one of the casinos, and we'll bring in material, deliver it to the site, and then we use it up, consume it on the jobs as we go. So we're not in a business to store materials. Inevitably, and to be truthful, you end up with 6 or 7 buckets of this brand or that brand, and we try to sell projects to try to consume that on the next job. We are located in 9 different states, but this location is only going to service 90 miles from where we're standing right now in any direction. The other locations, we get products and materials and equipment delivered right to their job sites, and then they come and get them when they're done and take them away. So we're a very specialized company in that regards. These products, and I can see why there would be a concern about them, but they're no different than, it's a different grade of like acrylic, just like paint, epoxies, urethane type paints that you see like on a bridge or something like that. We put them on the floor and we throw aggregate in them and it becomes a wearing surface. And that's 80% of our business. We also build new buildings, and that we virtually need no equipment for that because we sub things out as a construction manager for all intents. The only people we sub things to is ourselves, the waterproofing sealant guys.
Bill Davis, I want to include you in this. Has there been any consideration of the prevention of putting excess material into either the storm sewer or the wastewater treatment system?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's never occurred, although I can see it being a concern. But these products, they are absolutely not stored outside. They're all temperature sensitive materials. And you know, just like a paint, you know, if you had 10 buckets of paint to paint your house, they have to be in temperature controlled areas. We don't open up the containers and do any kind of mixing or any kind of curing of any of those products at our office. Everything is delivered to a project, and we handle them there. Yeah, we don't open up none of that stuff, really. And you can imagine, if you own a company, you can't buy pallets of material and let it sit there without being able to bill for it. You can't bill for it until it's on the ground. So that's kind of our thought process.
Any materials that you use contain hazardous substances?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you read a can of paint, it has hazardous substances. But federal and local state laws over the last 10, 15 years have restricted their ability to, they keep them to a smaller percentage now to keep within federal limits. And typically that's under 8% of the container of the material would be some sort of a solvent. Typically it's like a xylene, like a paint thinner type material that's in these. These products are all, I shouldn't say all, but 80% of those materials are cured. You put an A and a B and you mix them up and it gets hard, like a rubber ball, virtually like a rubber ball. And some of them are aliphatic in that it's a one-part material and it's moisture cured from the atmosphere. I know only in West Virginia do I know of that there's a concern for as much solvent as you could have in a bucket. That state allows you to have much more than Pennsylvania, New York, or Ohio, or Maryland. You know, like I said, it's our job to cycle that material per the project that comes. To give you an example, at the Pittsburgh airport, we had just done 700,000 square feet of product on the floor. That's a lot. That's a lot. We get a project like that, we're going to ship it right to the location. But if we get a job that is as big as this room, when we get small projects, we'll ship it to our office. Guys will come, put it in their truck, take it to the job site, and consume it. You know, and at the end of the use of that material, it's placed in dumpsters at the job site. We're not bringing garbage back here to store back here. It's part of the cost of the job for dumpsters on these job sites.
So any waste you generate gets disposed of off-site?
Yes, yep. To give you, just to give you guys some idea, right now we're working in Montefiore Hospital, Shadyside Hospital. We worked at Presby Hospital. While the facility was open, we put down 125,000 square feet of this stuff. While the facility was open, in other words, general public was walking right past us, and the hospital intakes were right there. So I don't want you thinking it's worse than it is, because it's being chemically developed to be acceptable from an environmental standpoint. Yeah, it looks like, most of the stuff we do looks like the coating you would see on a tennis court or something. So that, you know what I mean? But it's made to put aggregate in it, and then it allows it to be durable that a car can drive on it.
Manager Patterson, the engineers and the planning commission have approved this.
They recommended approval. There were no engineering concerns from the application itself, they just mentioned some of the other kinds of items that are just regular zoning things that need to be followed, like lighting standards and things like that. Nothing that in this application was called out right away. It was just reminding the applicants to be mindful of the conditions in our zoning ordinance.
Bill, do you have any concerns?
I didn't know what your company did. The only thing I would be concerned, that building's not sprinkled. It didn't meet the requirements when it was built. So storing the materials inside, depending on what the materials, they're hazardous materials.
Yeah,
They would
yeah.
have to be a designated
I
area.
will, let me talk towards that. There's sprinklers lines in there.
Yeah, they never tied them in.
And you knew that? Because we were up there looking, we were tearing the ceiling down, trying to find, where is this? And they don't even have a connection for a dry system that they could pull up to a truck and just pump it in.
No, that building, when it was built, it was built for Columbia Gas. And then there was a number of tenants, and when Cricket was, they used it for a switch room.
Yeah,
They actually had an Ansel system in there, a dry system for dry chemical. And when they moved out, they had to remove it.
so there is, in the warehouse area, I believe there's sprinkler lines, there's heads in there. It would be our intent to address that in some way. I believe nothing less than an exterior place for a truck to hook on to, to supply a dry system.
Just
It
for
would
the
be our-
record, Mr. Davis is the chief of the fire department and also part of the authority.
Right.
Ms. Litt, can we make addressing the fire liability as part of an approval?
Absolutely, I believe, with the description of the use, there would probably be a change in occupancy under your fire code and building code requiring that anyways. But my recommendation would be that in addition to any conditions, should the board choose to move forward with approval, to recommend conditions of approval of compliance with any outstanding items in HRG's letter, as well as compliance with the fire code, building code, and all other applicable township codes and ordinances.
Any other questions or discussion? Is it appropriate to take a vote?
It is. Double check that there's no other public comment. I see none.
Do you take a vote during the hearing, or do you close?
We can close the hearing now, and then we can move forward with a vote, unless there's anybody else with anything to add. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And you should feel free, if you would like to let the guests get out of here, you can certainly proceed to your vote, if you're ready.
Is the hearing closed?
The hearing's closed.
So if you could excuse yourselves just for
Sure.
5 minutes.
Sure.
So you can have deliberations in executive session if you would like us to move into executive session. Otherwise, if you're comfortable moving forward, you're free to have a motion one way or the other. And I would say that having reviewed do believe they comply with the zoning ordinance and that the conditions of approval as outlined would be appropriate.
I motion. Hold on.
I don't think there's not a written motion.
I know.
It would be a
I'm sorry,
motion to.
Carl Walker.
Yes, a motion to approve the application of Carl Walker Construction for conditional use approval, subject to conditions of approval being compliance with any outstanding provisions of the HRG comment letter dated April 2nd, 2025, as well as compliance with all other township codes.
I can
Second.
remember.
Patty, did you get that?
I don't need to get that.
I got that.
She got that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
And she
yeah,
got
motion.
Is so moved
That's-
appropriate?
So moved is
So moved
appropriate.
for us.
Is there a second?
I'll get it off the recording. I'm sorry.
Dan
who was-
seconded.
Who was the first?
Commissioner
Me.
Are you
Dara?
seconding? Okay.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I will have a notice of decision ready for your signature to get to them in just a moment.
Good.
Do you want to tell them? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yours was approved.
You
Your
were
motion
approved.
motion passed.
You should know that.
Stick around a moment, we'll give you a written notice of the decision to take back with you, okay?
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
appreciate it. We'll be good neighbors,
Good.
you know, very good neighbors.
You need the exhibits,
What, do you
right?
need us to stick?
I don't think so.
No.
You're free to go. You'll be getting a formal letter
Nobody
from
will appeal.
our solicitors outlining the terms of the
She wants the exhibits.
Oh, do you want copies?
I think she usually takes. You want the exhibits, right?
Yeah,
You do? Okay.
I can be on that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
thanks. Thanks, folks.
Yep. Welcome to
Appreciate it.
Aleppo.
Thanks for your help, Gwen. Thanks,
Sure.
everyone. Take care. We'll see you guys soon. All right, take care.
Police report.
Yeah. Nice to see everyone.
Thank you
Nice
very
to
much.
see you.
Thank you.
See you Wednesday.
Attach them when I come up.
You sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of March, total of 68 calls with 34 EMS calls. Sorry. We had several alarms, business alarms, things of that nature. Several animal complaints up on Trailside Drive that is being addressed through several different officers with the owner of two dogs running loose without leashes, so that is being addressed. A lot of the calls in around there, the harassment, ordinance violations, things like that, had to deal with the dogs. A few suspicious incident calls, but one or two of them were mental health related, so nothing really for the general public there. A few traffic citations, a few traffic warnings issued. Other than that, I have nothing else for the general public. Any questions or concerns?
Do you know where the citations occurred?
Right out here on the hill, although the officers have been running some traffic on several other roads, the primary violations seem to be right here on Deer Run for speed.
Any questions?
I have a question from a neighbor. For, now that it's popular for cameras to be on homes for their own security devices, a lot of them though tend to point to, they film other people's property. And is there a comfort level? Are there rules regarding that, or thoughts, your thoughts, because I know it's a unique
The
thing.
general rule of thumb is as long as it's on the person's privately owned property
Mhm.
and not on anyone else's, if it happens to catch other grounds or other things, there's really nothing that you can do about it.
Okay.
fences and the like, lights to blind it if you have that kind of, but we do receive complaints like that from time to time. But generally speaking, most cameras are affixed to people's homes or from within inside their homes. So no, there's, legally, they're allowed and permitted to do so. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else?
Okay.
The always question, anything we can do for you?
Just, see something, say something. We did have one fraud call in there, but, as always, be mindful and pass along to people to be very mindful of that, right? If you don't initiate the business, don't do the business. All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Fire?
Should have been ready, right? I didn't have to make all these copies after all.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take one for R and G.
Oh, yeah, give-
Okay, good evening, everybody. The packet that I just
Bill,
passed.
could you introduce yourself for the camera?
Sure. Bill Davis, Fire Chief, Aleppo Township Volunteer Fire Company. Before you is a brief report for year 2024. Last year, when I passed this out, I believe we have two zones, two districts. We have District 1, District 2. District 1 is Aleppo, District 2 is Swickley Heights. And I believe I just passed out last year for just Aleppo. This is for both districts, so you see how many calls that the fire company is responding to as a whole, not just Aleppo. But I do have a breakdown of just Aleppo's calls and Swickley Heights calls. The first page tells, we ran 209 calls, fire, 4 incidents pertaining to EMS. That was only just EMS assist. We assist with lift assist or patient removal. The mutual aid part, aid given, aid received. That's 83 calls that we have went out of town to assist other agencies, whether it be somebody in North Boroughs, Quaker Valley, North Fayette, wherever. Shows 10, that means 10 times that we've had to bring in help from outside to help us. And then the last couple of things on page 1, just average response times, turnout times from the time we get dispatched to the time we get a truck on the road, and then an overall time of us getting on scene after dispatch. Page 2 is just the breakdown incident types, the pie chart. Page 3 gives you the 3 coded NFPA numbers. NFPA, whenever we enter in reports for the.
Bill, just going back real quick.
Yeah.
The false alarm, false call is a pretty high percentage. Can you
Yes.
give an example of those?
False alarms can range from somebody changing their battery detectors and don't notify the alarm company. Just a dust in the detector, that the alarm goes off for any reason or another. We get there, we'll assist the homeowner, clean out the detector, reset the system. Good intent calls, I had a question raised earlier about that. Good intent calls, I have to look, that can range from anything from assistant public works with trees down, road cleanup, false alarm calls. On the one page, when we get to it, you'll see that 82 calls for 83 mutual aid calls that we were called out of town. There's a high percentage of those were canceled en route, so that would go into that category as well. After the pie chart, the second page, like I said, is the breakdown of the calls on the type of incident. code 611, dispatch and canceled en route, that's 82 calls. That's, I'll get into that, I'll explain that a little bit later. Typically, when we get dispatched for a call, if it's a fire alarm and you're home and the alarm went off by accident and you called in before the trucks left the building, that would fall under that category. But a lot of them are mutual aid calls that we go out of town. But we'll talk about that when the other issues that we have. And then the last 6 pages, it's just the breakdown of the number of calls, incident number on the first column, the date, address, incident type, and then alarms, the alarm times. If you go down through there, you'll see in some areas there's repeat offenders, both in Aleppo and the Heights. If there's anything that anybody looks at and they want to talk about, or I can get more detailed, I could just pull the fire report for that particular incident.
What do you do with repeat offenders?
There's an ordinance, the township can fine them. I don't believe we've issued any citations for years. We had a number of incidents in the industrial park and Masonic Village, but that has gone by the wayside. They've upgraded their alarm system for one at Masonic, and it helped out tremendous. We were going there 2 to 3 times a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that, they took care of their system. Just a brief history. Last year, total, you'd see 209 calls. 83 were in Swickley Heights, District 2. District 1 is Aleppo. Now, we have it listed as 126 calls that we responded to. Of the 126 calls, 82 of them were outside the district, so that's mutual aid. So really, Aleppo had 44 calls for the year. The 82, like I said, we have to put our mutual aid responses under our home station, our home base, so that all those calls reflect the district number 1. Just a comparison, 2023, almost the same numbers. Swickley Heights had 81 calls, Aleppo had 50. We ran more mutual aid in 2023 than we did last year. Looks like that's going to be changing here for us. Currently, the fire company still has 29 active members. We have 5 retired that are not active. They're just older gentlemen who put their time in, come around every so often. We did apply for the state grant every year, the PEMA grant, and every year we applied for the maximum. This year was $20,000. This year we got $13,900. We never get the full amount, and nobody can ever explain why. What's the equation they use for distributing the money? Every year, we always apply for the max, and a lot of times when we apply for the max, the fire company makes up the difference. So it'd be nice to actually apply for something to get the full amount, so we don't have to take it out of our capital to offset the cost. We are looking into apply for the SAFER grant. It's put out by the state to help pay for our personnel. We've been looking into this for a couple of years, of trying to pay our people to entice more people to participate, whether it be paid per call or paid staff in the station. It's something we can't afford to do out of our general account. So it's something that we're looking into. The officers have been looking at other companies and what they have in place, and try to mirror what they have, and so we could adopt that same process for our company. Hopefully that'll spark the interest of some more people, because as we said before, today money drives everything. So if you can come and participate and get a $300 or $400 check at the end of the month, might get more people. One thing we're going through right now, and Allegheny County has issued new SOG procedures. So that pertains to our dispatching. It came into effect April 14th. We have a 5-minute time limit from the time we're dispatched. The time that the activation comes over our phones and our radios, we have 5 minutes to get a truck on the road. If you go 5 minutes without announcing, there's no more, like, somebody would get to the station and they would have to go to the radio and say, 101 has the call. So then the county they would hit the stopwatch and then it would reset until you get a truck on the road. It's not like that now. Now you have 5 minutes to get a truck on the road. If you don't have any acknowledgement for a truck on the road, they give you 2 additional minutes. If no other truck gets on the road, they fill that card with another company. So it's kind of a pain, and I've talked to, we've had 5 calls this past weekend, and I got to talk to a lot of other fire companies about it. And there's nobody really fond of this new procedure. Us in Aleppo Township, I can tell you, I work in the township. I'm here during the day with 4 other guys, and if we're at our building, we can't get to the station and get a truck on the road in 5 minutes. Can't do it. It doesn't happen. So we might be 6 minutes, but 5 minutes is stretching it. By the time you get over there, get to the station, get your gear on, because you have to have your gear on before you get on the rig, and get that truck called in service. We're not paid. There's nobody at that station during the day at all. Everybody's volunteer. So it's tough. It's going to be some growing pains. Some people are going to have to step it up, unless a lot of us go to the county and try to get this changed, because everybody in Quaker Valley is the same way. I mean, one of the biggest companies in Quaker Valley is Swickley. They have manpower, only during the day, daylight. Nighttime, they struggle just like we all do. That's why when you see us going out of town, 83 calls, because of the way the alarms assignments are set up, you have to have 4 engines and 2 ladder trucks on initial call. Well, Aleppo, we're the only ones around that we didn't adopt that ordinance. It's just our company first alarm. So they're pushing for that. So that's something that we're going to have to change. So that's going to affect also our response times and our peak. If you start running all these calls, guys, nuisance calls. I mean, most of them are mutual aid calls. We're getting halfway down Glen Mitchell Road, and we're canceled. Turn the trucks around. It becomes a pain. At 2 o'clock in the morning, drag out of bed to get a quarter mile from the building, or if we're going to the North Boroughs, typically we get on 65, and before we get to 79 interchange, they're canceling us and sending us back. So we don't know who's driving it. We don't know what's behind it, but I think enough of us get together, we can maybe talk to the county and see if there's can be changes made. We understand. First and foremost, you got to get people there. You got to get people to the scene. But we've been operating for how many years? And knock on wood, I thought we've provided a pretty good service in a volunteer level of getting our vehicles and our people to the scene, regardless of what the call is, whether it's a structure fire, vehicle accident, or a cat in a tree. We've never missed a call, never. I do apologize. I had the papers with me for this year. The breakdown, the only thing I know we're up to 60 calls. 60 was yesterday, so we're right in line with where we've been the last couple years. We'd like to see it go down, not up. I joked around with our guys at the station. I said, I became fire chief in 1998. In 1998, we had 24 calls. 1999, we had 24 calls. Never would I thought Aleppo Township would be running 209 calls. The year before that was 227. A lot of nuisance stuff.
Yeah.
That you don't need fire for.
Of the Aleppo calls, what percentage is Masonic?
It's not in this page, but if you look through, you can see which ones are Masonic. There's not a lot.
It's not huge, yeah.
No. And when we get called there, I have a direct line directly with their security staff. And typically when the whistle goes off or we're dispatched, they're calling me to let me know, hey, it's a false alarm, or maintenance was working on the system. And I went over there for a couple supervised fire drills, and they take the system offline, but the dispatcher still dispatches it by mistake. So they do that when maintenance is working on the system. If they call them and put the system on test, They don't do that, and then we get dispatched. But again, it's a dispatch and then it's a cancel. But the call volume from the sign comes on way down. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions or comments, we thank you for your support.
Any questions? Other than thanks for everything you do. At the ALOM conference, the issue of volunteer fire was a very significant part of the conference. So we know there's a lot of change, there's a lot of pressure, and there need to be some creative ways to pay back the people that are doing all the work. So thank you very much, Bill.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Swickley Heights a few hours ago, and the topic came up about volunteers. And I said, probably about 20 years ago, there was over 350,000 volunteers in the state of Pennsylvania. It's down below 35,000 now. So my brother, our assistant chief, it was like a 20-page report that he had to do for the military. And it's all based on volunteer service, where people aren't getting involved. People don't have time, we can recruit people, but the minute you walk through the door, we say, by the way, you have to have 188 hours to be an interior firefighter. And with that 188 hours, it's all on your time. You don't get paid for it. Saturdays and Sundays till you achieve 188 hours, or you go Monday and Wednesday, 4 hours a night. And people, I got a family at home, I got kids, I got soccer practice, I got karate, and it's hard to get people to come in. We've been fortunate. We have probably 6 young guys now that are under the age of 20 that already went through the program. That they started out at 14 as a junior. These young kids, they don't want to get involved. We're going to do our best.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
George, I scanned through, and there only looked to be like 6. I did a quick scan,
Good.
yeah, so
Yeah, there are a
I think
couple
it's
of,
pretty minimal.
there are a couple of houses that have 6.
Yeah, I know, that's why I asked about the repeat offenders.
Do I hear a motion to donate blank to the Aleppo Township Volunteer Fire?
A motion to donate $250 to the Aleppo Township Volunteer Fire Company's annual fund drive.
Second.
Discussion? I would like to move that to 500.
Second. Motion for 500 or second?
Second.
Thanks.
That's fine.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
We're just
I did forget to mention,
muddle
And
I do apologize. Saturday, May 17th is the open house for the fire company. Everybody's invited. I'm not part of the committee, so I don't know what they have planned, but as usual, I think it's a lot of stuff for kids. And there was talks of some type of food truck or hot dog truck or something.
Yes.
I'm in, either way, I'll be there. Everybody's welcome.
Thank you, Chief.
What hot dog truck?
Emergency Management.
No report.
Public Works.
Good evening, everybody. A little short at the end. You all have copies of the report.
And your name is?
Pardon me?
And your name
Oh,
is?
sorry, Tim Scott, Public Works Department. I always forget that, don't I? On your report, you'll see work on the township yard. We had to do some topsoiling, reseeding, grading of the yards out here. Actually, we're gonna start work. We started working on the outside in the front here today, but then it started to rain. Cleaning up the trucks, that's the end of the salt season. Matter of fact, we're gonna borrow the Water Authority's pressure washer and get them real clean. We removed the salt spreaders already. Posting the meeting signs, that was, when told me, that's the Earth Day signs, right? I said, no, well, yes and no. We also posted for 209 Overlook and a house on Red Gate Road. We had to cut a few trees up after the last storm, we had one pretty good sized one break and the whole end of it fell out onto the front of Weber Road. And that's about it. Any questions?
Street sweeping.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, they started street sweeping today. Bixwood, Berdeen, Overlook, and I believe School Street and Merriman are all done. I don't know if he got to Rhodes Avenue yet.
Yes, he did.
And then after, did he get down
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Yeah, it was like, what is that?
And then he's got to do Swickley Heights Drive, and then we're gonna have him do the rest of the township roads.
Good.
Yeah, that was at the bottom, I missed it.
Any other questions?
They did a nice job.
Did they?
Mhm.
I haven't seen it yet since he did
Yeah.
that one. I'll see it tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Communications.
Just following up on the one from last week about the speeding on McCoy, we did pass that along to the police, and they were gonna look into that.
Good. Planning and zoning.
We got 2 more applications in, another conditional use application that will be in front of the planning commission in May, and that is for a lot at the end of Overlook Drive. There's another company who wants to come into the industrial park and use 304 Deer Run, but they don't have an outside yard, and there's another lot at the end of Overlook, so they would need conditional use approval to use that lot for storage of some of their exterior supplies. And then we also got a land development application for the Amazon lot at the back of North Drive to install the electronic vehicle chargers. So those will be coming through the planning commission next month, and then possibly to the board here at the May meetings.
And we have still 2 interested parties for the vacancy.
Correct.
I think due to the fact that we have 2 commissioners not here, I'm going to defer that discussion.
Sure.
Tax collector treasurer.
You have packet, or Clay's report in your packet, and taxes just started, the real estate taxes just started coming in. The bills go out March 1st, so they are coming in. So the bulk of that money will be received this month. I'll get that report at the end of April, then that's the bulk of the real estate tax money comes in March and April. So we are starting with the collections of that. Do you want me to read the totals? Okay.
EIT looks to be ahead of last year also. Do I hear a motion to exonerate Clayton Stoop, etc.?
Second.
No.
Oh, so moved.
Good.
Second.
Any discussion? So the full motion was to exonerate Clayton Stoop for collection of 2023 real estate taxes. Manager Patterson, can you explain that?
That is required by his bonding company. We collect real estate taxes, we actually use an agency, we use Jordan Tax to do it, but he is the elected tax collector. And so at the end of that tax collection year, he gets exonerated for the people that didn't pay, either the people that don't pay and it goes into collections, or the people that that's dead guy lots, basically is what I call them, the lots that they were established in 1918 and no one's ever paid on them in all these years. So there's always a small percentage of taxes that don't get collected every year, and this exonerates him from being responsible for collecting them in the carryover years. So we do it every year.
Agree?
Agreed.
Well done.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't think we
Move to approve
voted.
the March bill list in
You
the
still-
amount of
yeah, you still need it.
23,000.
You still do need a vote.
Still,
We have to vote.
Yes,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
thank you.
Would somebody like to make the finance motion?
Go ahead, Dan.
Motion to approve March bill list in the amount of $23,472.24. To ratify March prepaid bills in the amount of $15,294.60. And to ratify March payroll transfers in the amount of $19,517.92.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Aleppo Township Authority.
No report.
Quaker Valley Ambulance Authority.
No report.
Quaker Valley COG.
I
You have the reports in the back of your packet from the COG?
Yeah, I don't see anything, yeah, you have your report in your packet,
Okay.
nothing that is
Okay,
pressing
yeah.
for you guys.
Can I ask a question about that?
Please.
With the fire departments, is there a way that COG can help organize their voice to have,
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it.
You know what I'm trying to
it's
say,
worth an
like-
ask, you know.
I mean,
What a great question, Amy.
Yeah.
Fire Chief Davis
Do
is
they-
here to address that.
is there a role, maybe I'm wrong, but is there a role to help that, to help organize, to say, this whole region, we disagree with this and these nuisance calls are hurting us?
Great question, and there's a fee associated with that. I talked to Patrick Connors
Yeah.
from Quaker Valley COG. The fire company for the last 3 or 4 years belonged to Shar West COG. Basically, the COG gives you more purchasing power as a group. We really didn't see a benefit of belonging to that COG, so this year, and actually in January's meeting, we elected to back out of the Shar West COG. I just got information from Patrick of possibly joining Quaker Valley COG and what the benefits are. And we would be able to join as associate member. It's $500 and some a year. Not a full member like the township is. But he said they would be able to assist us in all the grant writing that's available. So if we know of a grant, he said they would be more willing to help with the grants.
Yep.
I told him that I'm gonna talk to the other fire chiefs in Quaker Valley, because there's no fire companies in Quaker Valley or North Boroughs that belong to Quaker Valley COG. Most of us belong to another COG, just because there's more companies involved in it. We did a couple grants for radios that were over $2 million, and nothing came our way. So we're hoping, we actually tabled it to get more information of the fire company. So hopefully next month we'll have more information that we will be joining Quaker Valley COG.
Well, that was timely. Well, thanks.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Solicitor's report?
Okay, at the workshop meeting, I was asked to follow up on some of the discussions that were had at ALOM about both social media policies, and use of AI. I focused in the short term on social media because it is more pressing and sort of has more of an impact on you. So I did review what you have in place in terms of a social media policy. It was redone in 2018 and adopted with your employee handbook. So you do have a relatively up-to-date social media policy for employees. What it does not appear that we have put in place is one for elected officials and appointed officials, which is also a recommendation. There are aspects of the employee policy that probably need some small updates because there have been some significant changes in the past couple years, as we've mentioned before. Luckily, both Mr. Stone and I have reviewed this issue, written about it. We've provided some secondary documents we had already drafted for a legal publication to Gwen, so she can distribute that in sort of a short form overview on what some of the updates are for use of social media by public officials. The main areas of concern are generally that, one, social media is a record under right to know, and you have to be able to establish that there's some sort of boundary between your private social media and your public, or else you are likely to, at some point in your career, have your social media be compelled to be provided as a public record. That's sort of the embarrassing aspect, right? That's, not fun for anybody, but not necessarily a big legal concern. Where you have more of a legal concern is where your actions through public social media can be an official act as a government official and potentially subject you to Section 1983 claims as civil rights claims. So there is a need, based on some recent decisions, both from Pennsylvania Supreme Court and Commonwealth Court, as well as the U.S. Supreme Court, that do lead us to want to keep those sort of policies up to date and consistent with the latest law. So looking at the policy you have in place from 2018, again, I do think you should have something applicable to public officials. And in addition, we would recommend some small updates to the employee aspect to make sure that's up to date with new law.
So you've submitted this to Manager Patterson?
I have, and apologies, I meant to bring copies for you, and then I killed the toner in the printer on the way out the door this evening. So she has digital copies of just your existing policy, some secondary sources that just outline some of the recent changes for you to read in kind of a very quick format. And then, we can provide some more detailed comments and suggestions as you move forward if you would like to update those policies.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And AI will be next.
And if anyone watched 60 Minutes last night, they should know why. Any questions for our solicitor? Unfinished business. Manager Patterson, Earth Day.
Earth Day is scheduled for this Saturday, April 26th. Gathered here at the Township Building. We actually have some volunteers from Amazon coming to join the residents this year, so that's something to look forward to. We might be able to get a few more sections of road done or get done promptly. And we're watching the weather. It's supposed to rain. We're hoping it's going to rain lightly or not during our time, but pay attention to the latest news page on our website, and the front door, where we will post updates if we end up having to postpone or reschedule the event.
Any questions? Thank you. Any new business? Any citizen participation by communication? None? We will now leave the meeting at 7:51. Hold an executive session related to potential legal matters.
To say I hadn't thought
We
of
have
that
left
myself.
executive session at 8:32. We're now going to adjourn the meeting.